All right, we're back with part 3 of why you need a building permit. And in this episode, we're going to talk about new
What you
construction.
need to bring in with your building
Well, that too. That too. What do you need? A couple of sketches. You wrote it down on a napkin. You said, here, this is what I
permit.
want to do. Uh, they may take it. You don't know. So before we get into it, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button, dingle on the bell, and of course, leave us a note. Tell us how great Rich is doing with putting all these things together for us. So with that, let's go ahead and start the share. And where are we picking up here? We're going to pick this one up
Well,
at,
I'm going to do a quick recap. So this is part 3. The
yes,
first part we did, what do you need for a building permit? And all we did was interior renovations and alterations, which is a lot less work, but there's still some things you must have. So then the second episode we did last week, that was doing additions. So in additions, you're starting to go outside the existing building footprint, so you're going to need a little more paper. But now we're talking about starting from scratch.
right,
Now we're doing new construction. New construction brings up a whole new set of rules. New construction, we have to conform to the code, the zoning, the restrictions they have. So you're going to want to check with municipality. And the first thing you're going to have to do is get one of these here, either a civil engineering drawing or call it a building coverage. Some of these, like this isn't even 100% accurate, but we have to draw this up. This is the proposed site plan.
right,
Normally, along with the proposed site plan, somewhere there's a little worksheet that tells you how much pervious surface you have and how much impervious surface. Because the building department only allows you to cover 40% of your land. The rest has to be able to absorb water.
right,
Okay, so a driveway made of concrete is impervious surface. It will not absorb water. However, if you did that same driveway in pavers, now permeable surface will now count against you. Your
right.
sidewalk is an impermeable surface. Your patio is impermeable. Your house is impermeable. You're covering your lot with all kinds of things that do not absorb water.
Mm-hmm.
What happens to the water when it rains?
Goes to the neighbor's house.
Goes to the neighbors, floods the street. And that is exactly why they have these certain codes. So
Right.
you're going to have to get a site plan and probably fill out all those permeable surface things.
And this also is a drainage and grading, what should be on here or on a different page. And your elevation lines should be in here showing where
Like a topographical where it's showing which way the water's running.
exactly.
We go so far sometimes as put the downspout locations on there and you put arrows on there to show that we're not sending water to the neighbors.
Right. So this is down here says downspout.
So
Minimum,
yeah, downspout drains with pop-ups.
yeah, and minimum of 10 feet away.
So now we want to go to 12, which is actually your survey.
12. Oh yeah, there you go.
So now this is showing you exactly. Now here's the difference. The proposed site plan is based on this survey. You have to get a licensed and registered land surveyor to lay your house out on the property. You need to stay within all your building setbacks and your easements, and that's what will be shown on a survey. It won't show electric, plumbing, downspouts. It's only going to show you exactly your dimensions from your lot lines to the building itself.
Right. And this is just your footprint of
Yep.
the house. That's
Yep.
all it is.
But you should have got that original survey when you bought the lot. But again, if you're dealing with a general contractor in a subdivision, you may not see it until then.
Right. But you should get one of these at closing when you buy the house also.
If you have a homeowners association,
Yeah.
you have to run your plans through the homeowners association to get their approval before, and that letter has to be submitted with your building permit application. Okay, so that's one of them. Now, when you're building a new house too, you got to figure out your energy calculations. Yep. So energy conservation, the residential building thermal envelope approach. So this is just from another company. It just happens to be something I grabbed offline as well. But your energy calcs, what they do, it's usually about a 20-page report. You give them your drawings, they figure out, okay, 2x6 wall, R19 insulation, or maybe it's a block wall with R10 on the inside, however it is. Then you give them all your window information. What's the U value of your windows? They plug it all in the computer. Computer spits out all these numbers telling you what you've got for energy conservation. And that report needs to be done and submitted with your permit.
Right.
It has to meet the DOE and Florida Department of Energy.
And now you guys are also required to do the blower door test to confirm this information is actually gotten done and has been done correctly, right?
That is correct. Now, this has nothing to do with a manual J or a manual D, which does your duct sizing and your equipment, right? So you need to have your HVAC contractor or an HVAC engineer do all those calculations for you so that you can come up with proper sizing and duct sizes. That's not what this does. This is actually telling you how much you need. And that's now electrical riser diagrams.
Okay.
Now, to somebody like you, this might even seem like a lot, huh?
Yeah. This is not your average house.
No, but that's almost common for us. So this diagram is pretty common for us. This one's actually obviously industrial because they're calling for 3-phase.
Yes.
And we don't ever do 3-phase in residential, which actually I just saw that. I probably wouldn't have grabbed that one if I realized it.
Yeah, it's a
But then
208.
you're also going to have to put the
120.
loads on. Like you'll literally write every circuit, the load that's going on there so that you can prove that the panel's adequate.
Yes.
So
You'll have to do load calcs. Part of the electrical layout is all the outlets and stuff by code. And I mean, that's a rabbit hole we don't need to go down. Usually we just do a basic, set up load calcs of all the heavy equipment and then just do the lighting thing, like you said. And that's how we size the service. But all that needs to be shown. This is just one piece of the electrical that needs to be shown.
well, and again, this isn't something that typically comes from your architect. Architect's an architect,
Yep.
not faulting him. This is usually done by an electrical engineer or at least a licensed electrician who is fully capable of doing it, because I've got some guys that just won't do it.
Sure.
So down here, it's fairly common practice to hire an architect and the structural engineer and your truss designer
Yep.
and an engineering firm to do all your HVAC,
Right.
your plumbing riser diagrams, and your electrical stuff. If I showed you my set of drawings for my own house, how thick it is.
But it's extremely detailed. You know exactly what you're doing. And there's no ambiguity in when you're starting to build the thing.
No, the nice thing is too, is if you gotta work on something 8 years from now, you can pull those plans up. It's pretty much where everything is. All right. The last thing we're gonna talk about, an elevation certificate. I know I
Factor.
bring this up again, so if you watch part 2, we did talk about this, because this in remodeling or additions can trigger the FEMA 50% rule. New construction, it does not. However, most municipalities, if they require an elevation certificate, right after your first floor is either poured or framed, you have to get a surveyor out there typically within 10 days to get an elevation certificate created and sent over to the city for approval.
Mhm.
If you start building walls, whether it's block or frame, and this thing comes in too low, you're taking down all that block or framing to raise that floor height. And then you'll get a final elevation certificate for your mortgage company, whatever, and FEMA for your insurance, and you're to go. But I think everything we talked about in the last 3 episodes is everything you need for new construction. And then the other ones are sort of broken off where that's about what you need.
Right.
Makes
So
sense.
if you're doing new construction, you need the other 3 things we talked about in the previous 3 episodes.
Right.
So, all right. Well, there you go. And maybe you'll have like what Rich has got is sitting behind him right there. There's a lot of things that go into putting one of these together. It's not simple. It's not something that the average, it's not a DIY thing.
No, this is just for getting the permit.
Yeah. You haven't built anything yet.
I haven't built anything yet. This is what we go through just to get your permit.
Right. So, and there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of little details we've left out of this. This is just big picture items to think about. So again, go back, talk to your municipality.
And I found most websites they don't have got nice little checklists. Some places do, this is what you're gonna need to submit, but some places just, start here.
Right, right. So, and we're finding the ones on the website, they do have the checklist. We follow it. It works fairly well. Of course, they always cook up new things. And once they see the plans and go, oh, well, you did all that. That's good. But I wonder, can you go ahead and give me this stuff information now?
Well, I mean, we didn't touch on, residential sprinklers. We didn't touch on radon. We didn't, passive systems. There are so many things that may need to be shown, but it really is dictated by where you live.
So with that, I'll say dingle on the bell, hit that subscribe button, and of course, leave us a comment down below. And hopefully you enjoyed this little 3-part series on what goes into a building permit, why you need a building permit. And if you've got any topics or, questions about what we've talked about here over these past 3 episodes, leave a comment down below. We'll be more than happy to comment on it. And who knows, we might actually turn it into an episode if the topic's interesting enough. And
Right.
we can't answer it very quickly. So with that, I'll say, keep it square and level.
Till next time.
Until next time. There you go.